Hi guys, BlackJack2099 here with another review, and this time we're going to be taking a look at a recent movie that I saw a couple of weeks back, and it is Apollo 18. So let's get started. First off, I just want to say, well, not first off, anyway, back in the mid-70s, Apollo 17 ended, and the NSA, the DoD, still wanted to send astronauts to the moon, get more space rocks or whatever. NASA said no, however. They ignored what NASA said, and they sent 3 astronauts into space. One to orbit around the moon, and the other 2 to be on the moon for the Apollo 18 mission. The thing is, while being on the moon, freaky stuff happens. One day they'll be collecting moon rocks, and the other day one of their samples will be on the ground, contaminated, and well, that's not bad. I mean, you guys can always go and get more. Not really. One moment their flag's gone. That's right, the American flag disappears, and then they go out looking for more moon rocks and find out that the Russians have been on the moon before, and find out where they find the Russian lunar module. It's still the same. It's different from theirs, but still the same. It still flies. It's got electricity still. However, it's bloodstained inside, so something bad happened. And I'm trying to get it. It's still fresh in my head. Whenever I do a review, I gotta drink. Anyway, meanwhile, one of the astronauts goes into a crater and finds one of the Russian cosmonauts dead. He's without his helmet. He's got his eyes sucked into the back of his head, completely dead. That's pretty good. Pretty good soda. Anyway, and then they find the other Russian cosmonaut, only to find out he's still dead, but he's like 5 feet away from the lunar module, only to find out when they touch his dead body, just goes it's like that. He's dead, and like jumps up, and inside him they find a moon rock. This is not a moon rock. This is a grandfather stone. This is the one of the many things I was going to give my grandfather before something bad happened. But anyway, then they find one of their helmets, and they just go like, screw it, we're going home. And then they're in front of the I think it is the NSA that their mission is what they're doing is done. They need to go back to Earth. Instead, they are attacked by something where the whole insulation for the ship is torn apart, and their technology is destroyed. And one of the astronauts goes out to repair it, and ends up having some sort of alien spider crab rock thing that me and my friend Chris, aka Chris M Party 123, discussed a couple of weeks back, where it got into his spacesuit, probably from one of the tainted samples, and well, it got into him, and it infected him somehow. It got into his skin somehow, and he forgets the whole thing, only to find out that there's something in him when they try and get it out. He's actually bleeding pretty bad, and the other astronaut tries to get it out with space tongs, and instead what's inside is moon rock, and instead it like jumps out, like scares me. Well, scared a lot of people back in the theater, and then they're like poking it, like, stop fucking with me, stop fucking with me. Then immediately the space rock completely explodes. And so then the couple of days that they're on the moon, the guy that's infected becomes super paranoid. His eyes are big, bloodshot, and red. he's got like scabs or big ass zits on his face and his arms, and he's bleeding black blood like crazy. And then he becomes so paranoid that when the other guy tries to help him, he's like, "Don't you dare touch me!" And the infected guy goes completely nuts that he starts hammering some of the technology in the lunar module, only to accidentally destroy one of the things that keep the oxygen inside, where the oxygen's coming out of the lunar module and almost killing them. So they strap on their suits and go to the Russian one, where it's the only thing for oxygen and life and stuff. It's the same thing. And then the guy that's infected does not want to go back to Earth because he doesn't want to prevent anybody else on Earth becoming infected like he has. And so he's standing at the edge of a crater. He does not fall. Instead, he's like pulled back into the crater, and he's like, no, trying to get away from whatever's doing so. And it turns out that when the other guy goes to help him and save him, it turns out that the rocks turn out to be the aliens. So basically, they're like aliens, like Transformers robots in disguise. Only these aliens are rocks in disguise, like crab spider things. Me and Chris were talking about. And wow, I am lost right now. I have a bunch of other things in my head. Meanwhile, the other guy rushes to the lunar module to have air, and then finds out that it still works, thank God. And then he immediately makes contact with anything out there, and he has contact with the Russians at first, then they transfer him to the DOD, saying that he cannot go back to Earth because he too is infected. And they knew about this. They didn't care if they were gonna die or get infected or whatever. No. They were like, you guys need to get our shit done, and we'll try and do as humanely possible as we ever can to get you back home. Really? Yeah, sure. And behind their backs, they're like, they have their fingers crossed, which means they're lying. Assholes. Then the other guy that's orbiting around the moon tries to help the guy that's infected, and they say that the DoD tells him that if he tries to save him, his communication with him and the Earth will be discontinued. So he'll be stranded in space forever. So instead, the guy tries to use the Russian Apollo module and fly back to Earth, or Russia, or the USA, or whatever. And the other guy tries to help him, but instead they like crash together. They crash together because they come in too close. So yeah, that's pretty much the whole movie, summed up in 8 minutes. So yeah, my review on this. It was good and scary. It was the good scary kind, and like scary kind, I mean like goosebumps, shit your pants scary. That's my battery. This was scary. I mean, things were jumping right at me, just like moon rocks exploding, people's faces exploding with aliens. And by the way, this movie is real. This was back from the mid-70s, and so NSA sent the astronauts to do what they needed them to do, and then 40 years later, 84 hours of leaked footage is turned into a 2-hour movie. I'm trying to cram this into 10 minutes for 30 seconds. So anyway, I gotta give this movie a 9.5 out of 10, which is an A. The ordinary space movie that you'd want to see, I mean, I really don't think this was a movie review, more than just from a critic's perspective. But I gotta work on keeping reviews under 10 to 15 minutes. I mean, I don't understand. Ngo was able to do his Megatron, Dark the Moon Voyager Megatron review in 10 minutes, kind of like this video was 20 minutes, kind of like how mine is 10 minutes now, and now but then Yang did his Masterpiece Rodimus review in parts, so, yeah. I guess that's pretty much all there is to say about this movie. See it if you want to, and do not see this in 3D. Do not see it in 3D. It is worse in 3D. Scarier in 3D. So, I guess that's pretty much all there is to say. So, that is the Apollo 18 movie review, and this is Blackjack 2099 signing off. More movie reviews coming on the way, and maybe a shout-out review. Maybe a shout-out vid. I don't know. Until then, take care, guys. Peace.